They fought naked in freezing temperatures. They felt no pain. They bit their shields and killed with inhuman strength. For centuries, historians believed the Viking berserkers were simply myths until archaeologists discovered something in a Danish grave that changed everything. A pouch. A simple leather pouch found in a 900 AD burial site at Fyrkat, Denmark. Inside, seeds. Black henbane seeds, belonging to a high-status priestess who knew exactly what she was doing. And suddenly everything made sense. What if the most feared warriors in history were actually high out of their minds? This is the story of the Viking drug trade, and trust me, it's way darker than you think. Let's talk about black henbane. Scientific name, Hyoscyamus niger. That literally translates to hog's bean. Yeah, not exactly a friendly name. The name henbane dates back to 1265 AD. And here's the thing about that word bane. It means thing that causes death. So right there, medieval Europeans were basically calling it the plant that kills chickens. Great start. This plant, yellow flowers with purple veins, sticky hairs all over the stems, looks almost beautiful until you learn what's inside. Every part of this plant contains alkaloids, hyoscyamine, atropine, tropane, scopolamine. These are anticholinergic agents that literally block the neurotransmitters in your brain. Now, in small to medium doses, this is where it gets interesting. Hallucinations. Your pupils dilate until your eyes look black. Restlessness. Your skin flushes red and swells up. You feel manic and drowsy at the same time, which shouldn't even be possible. Your teeth start chattering. You get chills, then fever. Your blood pressure drops. And here's the kicker. You feel no pain. Sound familiar? But don't take my word for it. In 1966, a German writer named Gustav Schenk decided to, let's say, do some field research. He inhaled henbane smoke and wrote about what happened. My teeth were clenched and a dizzy rage took possession of me. I experienced an intoxicating sensation of flying. I was seized with the fear that I was falling apart. Great trip report, Gustav. Totally sounds safe. Now, you might be thinking, wait, what about those red mushrooms? The fly agaric? That's what everyone says Vikings used. Yeah, no. Here's what the Stockholm Viking Museum has to say about that theory. If anything, fly agaric would have made them particularly worthless warriors, since the side effects include drowsiness, vomiting, muscle spasms, and numbness in arms and legs. Not exactly berserker material. Imagine trying to fight while you're vomiting and your legs are numb. You'd be less feared warrior and more easy target. So let's talk about what the ancient texts actually say about berserkers. The Volsung saga describes them like this. They went without armour, were as mad as dogs and wolves, bit their shields, were as strong as bears or oxen. They killed everybody, and neither fire nor iron bit them. This is called going berserk. Neither fire nor iron bit them. Think about that. These weren't just brave warriors, these were people who had completely disconnected from reality. And then there's what happened after, from Egil's saga. While the fit lasted, they were so strong that naught could withstand them. But when it passed off, then they were weaker than their wont. So we've got superhuman strength during the episode, complete loss of pain response, animal-like behaviour, and then a crash afterward where they're completely wrecked. Ethnobotanist from the University of New Brunswick. This guy spent years studying this, and here's what he found. Henbane produces effects consistent with Old Norse literature about berserkers. It causes psychoactive effects, delirious states, dissociation from reality, and dark, realistic hallucinations. But here's where it gets really interesting. Fatur says, I've heard many stories of people who take black henbane and wake up days later, not knowing what happened to them. People tend to behave in strange ways, aggressively imitating animals. And that crash the sagas describe, henbane produces brutal after effects, headaches, blurred vision, complete exhaustion. Meanwhile, mushrooms, they don't typically give you that kind of hangover. Now, some things still don't add up perfectly. The shield biting, we can't explain everything, but the teeth chattering, that matches henbane's physical effects exactly. But here's what most people miss. This wasn't just about battle drugs, this was about survival. Imagine you're a Viking, it's negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. You're thousands of miles from home. No antibiotics, no hospitals, no grocery stores. How do you not just die? Plants, specifically Nordic plants that evolved to survive the same brutal conditions you're facing. Here's something wild. Research shows that plants from harsh Nordic climates develop bioactive compounds that are 3 to 5 times more potent than varieties from milder regions. They had to become stronger to survive, and the Vikings figured out how to use that. Vikings consumed immune-boosting tonics before winter even hit. Preventive medicine was central to their whole philosophy. They weren't just reacting to sickness, they were trying to prevent it. So what was in the Viking pharmacy? For pain and bleeding? Yarrow. They called it Achillea millefolium. It would staunch bleeding and treat wounds. And get this. Archaeologists found evidence Vikings were cultivating hemp. Not for rope, for CBD oils and creams, painkillers, found in Swedish gravesites. Yeah, Vikings were using CBD. Joe Rogan would love this. For infections, chamomile for swelling and fevers, waybroad for ulcers, watercress for everything from flu to baldness. Apparently Vikings worried about hair loss too, for respiratory issues in that freezing air. Henbane, actually. They'd crush the leaves and stems for cough syrup, burn the plant and use the fumes to treat joint pain, inflamed tendons, gout. But here's what really sets them apart. This wasn't just physical medicine. Magic played a central role. Runes carved into healing tools, charms. Galdur, these were chants or spells sung during treatment. The vulva, the priestesses, they practiced seder, a form of shamanistic magic. They diagnosed ailments caused by curses or supernatural entities. To us that sounds like superstition, but think about it. The placebo effect is real. Belief in healing helps healing. They understood psychology before we even had the word. Now let's be clear about something. This wasn't safe, not even close. Henbane is likely unsafe when used in amounts above 3 grams daily. High doses can cause overheating, reduced sweating, vision disturbances, increased heart rate, drowsiness, restlessness, hallucinations, delirium, manic episodes, and death. Death. That's not a typo. In the Middle Ages, black henbane was widely used in Germany to make beer stronger, until it was prohibited. Why? Numerous cases of poisoning. People died trying to get a better buzz. But here's the twist. We're still using this stuff today. The compounds found in henbane, hyoscyamine and scopolamine, are used in prescription medicines right now to treat nausea and vomiting. We've just figured out how to dose it properly. And this ties directly into modern conversations, psychedelics, performance enhancement, altered states of consciousness, ancient wisdom meeting modern science. The Berserkers were basically Bronze Age biohackers. They were using dangerous plants to hack their nervous systems for combat advantage. No FDA approval, no clinical trials, just trial, error, and a lot of dead experimenters along the way. So did Vikings really use henbane to create berserkers? Here's what Carsten Fatur himself admits. My own work on the use of Hyoscyamus niger by the Viking berserkers is theoretical. We may never know if it is factual or not, but it is a theory that fits very closely with the historical records, and we do have chemical, medical, and archaeological evidence to support it. We have the plant in Viking graves, we have the symptoms matching the texts, we have the aftermath descriptions lining up with the pharmacology, we have ethnobotanists saying this is the best explanation we've got, but we don't have a Viking warrior's toxicology report. The mystery remains, and maybe that's fitting. The berserkers were meant to be terrifying, unknowable, superhuman. Whether they achieved that through henbane, pure rage, religious fervour, or some combination we'll never fully understand, one thing is certain. They worked. For hundreds of years, the mere rumour of berserkers was enough to make armies hesitate. That's not just pharmacology, that's psychological warfare at its finest. The Vikings understood something we're only now rediscovering. The line between medicine, poison, and performance enhancement is thinner than we'd like to admit. And sometimes, to survive the impossible, you have to become something impossible yourself. Thanks for watching. If you want more shocking Viking secrets, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, we're just getting started.